Hi, it's David here, CEO and founder of the Freedom Founders Mastermind community. Many times I have calls with well-meaning, well-intentioned doctors who are just wanting to see what we do at Freedom Founders. They're kind of like kicking the can, so they say. And when we have our calls, I ask them the question of, well, what's missing for you? What are you trying to accomplish? Some people are very authentic and will say that I'm really not sure where I am. I don't really get good advice. My financial advisor doesn't really seem to have a plan. He just puts my money here or there, and I really want to know. And they're more often, they strip off the ego and will just say, hey, I'm here, I actually want help. And others will kind of hide behind the shield of ego and pride, and I get it. We don't want to necessarily remove those barriers at the first time we have a call with somebody. But as I dig in a little bit with people, and I find out that they really don't have a game plan, what they tend to want to ask me when they're kind of trying to figure out is Freedom Founders a good place, or they don't really know the questions to ask, it's usually about ROI. Well, what kind of returns do you get, David? What do your Freedom Founders members get? And I try to be respectful because I understand it's just like a patient who calls your office and they broke a tooth, right? And maybe it's a front tooth, and they are thinking, well, I need to get this tooth fixed. But they don't know the questions to ask, so where do they call up and ask? Well, they'll say, how much is a crown, right? Well, you don't even know if that's going to be appropriate. Maybe they split the root, and they're going to need an implant, abutment, and then a crown. Or what kind of crown, right? There's different types of crowns. There's so many questions, and they just start with the question that they know. Well, how much is it? How much is it, doc? How much is it to pull a tooth? Well, depends, right? You know exactly what I'm saying. So when somebody, again, with all respect, ask me questions on a financial basis about what's the return, I have to kind of use that same analogy. It's not exactly the right question because there's a lot of factors that need to go and preface what's the high return. Seeking high yield and high return is what a lot of people want to do. It's normal. It's a tendency. It's like, I want to jump on board with that thing because it just went up crazy. Bitcoin several years ago was climbing up to 69,000, and then it did what? The free fall, the volatility. That's speculative, right? I'm talking about investing. Investing, certainly you need to get a return. I get that. But when you're playing the long game, and I'm talking about decades, not a year, 2 years, and trying to hit the home runs, that won't get you anywhere. Babe Ruth was the highest home run hitter in history, and yet I think his batting average was like about 333. So you see that trying to shoot for the moon all the time is not going to get you what you want. What you need is a game plan of understanding the specific investment assets that you're going to invest in that are going to move you to your goals. Some people think they can do it in the financial markets, and I'm not saying that you can't, but I've never found anybody who was in the financial markets who, once they saw alternatives, real estate and business, that ever went back to financial. Maybe they kept a little bit over there, but I've never seen anybody go back. I've certainly seen a lot of people from the financial markets come into real estate, but people who understand alternatives never go back to the financial side. I mean, that's just a fact. Show me somebody, and I'd be glad to meet them. So that should tell you something right there. Now, the thing is, investing for the future in the long game is not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody just invest in that index fund or that ETF and call it good. That's why when you put your money on Wall Street and just give it to a money manager who's going to give you a few menu items and go, we'll put you in this balanced fund, and we'll put you in this small cap fund, and we'll put you in this growth fund. It's like, do you really know? Does he really know what's in it? It's just nomenclature. It's just names. If you're really going to drive your financial future with a game plan that makes sense, you're going to have to put some time into it. You're going to have to get educated on this. And I know everybody says, well, I don't have time, and I'm supposed to just spend my time in the chair or whatever I do where my time value is greater. Yeah, there's a point to where you should do that, but there's also ways that you can fold time, collapse time to get an understanding of areas of your life that right now you probably don't, and you feel probably a little bit ignorant. And it's hard to feel ignorant when you're educated and you're really good at what you do, but you can't do everything. So just admit it and say, well, where can I go to get the right information from somebody, someplace where they're not biased about selling me some product that they've built that's supposed to make a square peg fit a round hole. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You need something that's customized and built for you that you can gain an understanding and have a place where you're not being sold something, some investment product, just because it's the product of the day. This is what makes or breaks long-term investing. How do I know? I've been doing it for 4+ decades. That's a pretty good long span of time. It's not forever, but I've seen the ups and downs. I've figured out in my own life what made sense and what actually worked for me. It's not theory, it's what works. And I took the same model of what I learned, being a product of the product, and now I'm able to help hundreds of other doctors, medical professionals with their game plan. And when they come and are enlightened as to what that world looks like, it's really a revelation that gives them the optimism that wherever they are on the pathway to their freedom, that they now see a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not just keep your fingers crossed, some guessing game. There's actually measurables that you can look at and see and understand how to shift your money in the market cycles. It's going to be very important to be able to do this in the coming years and decades, because we're not going to go back to the old days where it was just money figuratively running uphill. It's your freedom. You've got to stay focused on it, and I invite you to find out exactly how you can do that. If you'd like a call with one of us at Freedom Founders, just hit the link, and we're happy to have it with you.